All right, ladies and gentlemen, things are not looking good for Dragon Age the Veilguard, and we've spoken about this for a while. And if you guys missed the last video, we spoke about the top surgery scars, the stunning and brave scars that you'll be able to have on your character and never see them because armor is going to be covering them, but at least deep down you were able to virtue signal on Twitter about it before you never played the game after that. Well, apparently there is a new report that the Dragon Age the Veilguard retail pre-orders are getting absolutely stomped by Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
For a modern gaming audience.
Now, again, guys, not to defend Dragon Age the Veilguard, because I do believe this game is probably going to be one of the worst-selling Dragon Age games of all time, probably. It might beat the first one, maybe, and that's probably it. But ultimately, Dragon Age Veilguard, I don't think is going to be very good in terms of the history of Dragon Age, and I definitely don't think it's going to save BioWare out of the rut that it's in right now. But aside from all that, not to defend it, but I think it's a little bit unfair to compare Dragon Age the Veilguard to Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, because let's be real, man, a Zelda game is just extremely more popular than a Dragon Age game. It just is. Even when Dragon Age was at its prime, I gotta imagine that Zelda is a lot more popular overall. Now, granted, this is a side story, so to speak. It's of actually Zelda and not so much Link, but I still think that it's a little bit unfair to compare the two. But nonetheless, we can still make fun of just how bad Dragon Age is actually doing. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says a new report claims that the retail pre-orders for Dragon Age the Veilguard are getting stomped by Nintendo's upcoming Zelda Echoes of Wisdom by over a factor of 4. Craig, also known as Stuttering Craig, shared that his retail source, who manages over 900 stores, informed him that Dragon Age the Veilguard has 1,069 pre-orders in total, while Zelda Echoes of Wisdom has over 4,400 in just the past 2 weeks. Now, one thing I will say is that Nintendo has a much stronger physical media force than I think Sony and Xbox do, right? So we always say that digital is king. Everybody knows that. When it comes to sales, unfortunately, for those of you, who are like me, who like physical media, we're the minority in that aspect, right? Digital is absolutely king in terms of sales because people are just fucking lazy and they want to give corporations all the power and all the control over the products that they buy, and then they're going to go and pretend to be mad if these corporations take the products away 10 years later, after they paid for them, and don't give them their money back. So again, it's a constant battle between people who are like, well, I like the convenience of digital, and then when they take away games like The Crew, for example, they're like, oh, I don't like this. Why are you doing that? Like, bro, you signed up for this. You advocate for digital media. That's what you get. But that's besides the point. Then Craig says, my retail insider says Dragon Age the Veilguard has 1,069 pre-orders total in their 900 stores, mind you. To put it in perspective, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom has had over 4,400 in the last 2 weeks alone. Then it says this information follows a rumor from YouTuber Dr. Disaster, who shared that his own retail insider informed him sales for the game were piss poor. Now, I made a video talking about Dr. Disaster's rumor, and again, guys, it's not that I don't believe them. I do believe them, but I just think you guys have to understand that this is not really very important when it comes to like physical sales, when you're trying to gauge how well a certain video game is doing. Now, don't get it twisted. Physical sales should be a lot freaking higher for a Dragon Age game than this, right? Than 1,000. I think that is not good. That is not a good look. But 1,000 over 900 stores, you got to imagine over all the stores in the country that it's obviously higher than that. But how much higher, who knows? I more so focus on digital sales, right? I focus more on that because that is much more important to me. And when you look at digital sales on SteamDB, that's when you get the clearer picture. That's when you get more of the full story as to what's going on. It says this should not come as a surprise. Other metrics indicate that the Dragon Age Veilguard will have soft sales. SteamDB reports that Dragon Age the Veilguard sits in at 38th place at the most wishlisted Steam game. It's in 80th place for top sellers. Now, I will say this, 38th place is not bad, okay? That is not bad at all. It's got 60,000 followers, pretty decent, okay? Especially for a game that is ultra woke like Dragon Age the Veilguard. So I don't think that's exactly that terrible, but it's also not as good as it should be, right? Dragon Age has a legacy name to it that should be carrying a lot more weight than this. And this is what happens when you end out selling your soul for the modern audience. You start losing the real audience, and it's only a matter of time, right? A game just doesn't die right away that has legacy and history like Dragon Age. People have been fans of Dragon Age for decades, right? Over a decade. So they're not going to just abandon the game. Not all of them. Some people will. Right? I will be one of them, but not everybody's going to do that. Let's be real. It takes a couple of fuck yous before people end up abandoning. So this might be the first one. And if the second one gets even worse, then people might abandon the game fully. But as of right now, you're only going to start to see the beginning of the abandonment, but you're not going to see the full effect until later down the line. But then it says, as a comparison point, Bandai Namco and Spike Chunsoft's Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which goes on sale about 2 weeks before the Veilguard, is 23rd on SteamDB's most upcoming wishlisted games and is 14th in top sellers. On the PlayStation Store, Dragon Age the Veilguard's Deluxe Edition is in the 11th position, while the base game is in the 17th. Now, this is bad. This is bad right here, okay? On the PlayStation Store, I've done videos on this many times. The top 3, right, video games are well above the 4, 5, and 6 positions. We know this to be true because Black Myth Wukong was number 1 and Concord was number 6 when, just a couple of weeks ago. And look at what happened with Concord, right? If Concord was number 6 on the PlayStation Store and it died, you got to imagine that number 6 is not exactly a great place to be. It means that you don't really have that much numbers. But the top 3 are absolutely the ones that are dominating the sales right now for that particular store. So this is more telling than anything, in my opinion, that Dragon Age is so far down on the PlayStation Store. That means it's getting absolutely obliterated over there, and it might be more of a stronger sale on PC. And that should be expected. Dragon Age is definitely more of a PC IP, in my opinion, than anything, especially if you consider the first game. But ultimately, guys, I think that BioWare knows exactly what they're doing, and they're trying to virtue signal to a particular audience and a particular crowd that was known to be the most vocal with games like Baldur's Gate 3, the overly sexual crowd, the ones who flick their beans and rub their snakes to video games and use that as their porn. That's who they're virtue signaling to, and they're hoping they can get all of those players to stop jerking it to Baldur's Gate 3 and start jerking it to Dragon Age Veilguard. Let's just be fucking real about what it is, man. These people, that's what they want. They want the freaks. They want the weirdos. That's just who they're virtue signaling to. So ultimately, let's see. Let's see if the weirdos show up in mass and they actually support this game. But I do think that the majority of players playing this game are not going to be weirdos, ironically. They're just going to be people who are unfortunately holding out hope that BioWare is going to somehow turn around and stop being the garbage company they've been since they started releasing Andromeda and Anthem and all games like that. Well, unfortunately, I got bad news to tell you, man. I don't think that's going to happen. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.